afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to IBECC for 2016. Again, my name is Jim Arnold. I am a professor at the University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Please come and visit us, but not in January, all you Floridians. We are at the 30-minute presentation. You're the first presentation in our competition. Our two judges that are joining me today will introduce themselves after I get a chance to, well, let's do it right now. Let's have you both introduce yourselves.
So my name is Clark Water. I'm in product management with IBM, but perhaps more importantly for this, I am finishing a master's degree in theological studies at the Boston University School of Theology, where my focus has been on ethics.
Perfect.
And not exclusive theological ethics. That's included coursework in business ethics and public policy and so forth.
My name is John Truslow. I'm the Director of Ethics and Business Conduct for BAE Systems. BAE Systems is the third largest global defense company.
Wonderful. We are reading these instructions to every single team so that everything is a level playing field. Full presentation. In this part of the presentation, you are taking on a fictitious business identity and assigning a fictitious business identity to the judges. And after I finish this, we're going to ask you to tell us exactly who we are. Now, so we want to know before you begin, you'll have 25 minutes to present, but also an extra 5 minutes after that. So technically it's 30 minutes, and you told me that you're not going to hit 30, so you'll be just fine. We are not going to interrupt you while you speak. We will hold our questions to the end. And when you're finished, we will ask you questions for 20 minutes. Each one of the judges can ask questions during that time. Now you're going to stay in character during the Q&A. We're going to stay in character as who we are, and you're going to stay in character as who you are. And then after that, then we will leave character and we will give you some feedback as judges, and you will be, once again, whoever it is you are. The ethical aspects of your analysis are the most important part. These need to be explained in simple, practical, common sense fashion. We don't want to hear you using any technical, philosophical terminology or basing your argument on religious grounds or theological grounds. And any member of the team reading his or her part will also be considered a major mistake. You don't look like you're going to be reading, so it will be great. But you may use notes when you speak. And every member of the team must have some sort of speaking role. Are you ready to go?
We are.
In that case, tell us, who are we?
So you are Walmart executives, so the top management at Walmart.
Management?
And we are a consulting agency that you hire to deal with some issues that we'll get into more in the presentation that Walmart's currently dealing with.
Okay, wonderful. Good luck.
Thank you. So, what does it mean to be watched? How does it feel to be spied on? What does one do when their privacy is jeopardized? In recent years, Walmart employees learned the answers to these questions when Walmart significantly increased the extent to which they're monitoring their employees. Before we get into the current problem, let's take it back to our roots. Walmart was founded by Sam Walton on the principles that if you want to do well, you have to treat your employees well. He understood that in order for customers to be happy, the employees have to be happy. Recently, however, Walmart's forgotten this principle. Hi, my name is Megan. I'm here today with my teammates Connor and Taylor, and we'll be addressing this problem more deeply. I'm going to hand it off to Taylor now.
Thanks, Megan. So let's look at what this problem really began from. Basically, it's an organization called Our Walmart. What is Our Walmart? It stands for the Organization United for Respect at Walmart. Basically, they're an employee group founded by a union. So I want to clarify that they are not a union in themselves, but they are founded by a union. So what Our Walmart is requesting from Walmart is full-time jobs with higher wages, improved healthcare, more predictable schedules, and freedom to speak without retaliation. With all of these things, one thing is needed to note that Walmart does not know the size or scope of Our Walmart. So, but the basic threat that Our Walmart brings to Walmart is they're threatening organized strikes. These strikes would result in a loss of billions for Walmart. So from here, we're going to look at how is Walmart verbally reacting to Our Walmart. To the media and the public, they're saying Our Walmart is a publicity stunt. They're completely denouncing the organization and saying they're grossly exaggerated, they're insignificant. Truly, Walmart is saying that Our Walmart does not matter to them, which is fine. But we're going to look at what Walmart's actually doing behind the scenes. So this is their public reaction, but their reaction within the company behind the scenes is First, they've hired an intelligence gathering service from Lockheed Martin. This service is used to provide monitoring to drug trafficking companies as well as monitoring terrorist organizations. So this over-intensive group is being hired by Walmart to monitor their own associates. The next thing they've done is they've contacted the FBI. Another is they've increased their labor hotline staff. This labor hotline is used by managers to report to corporate any different union activities that they feel their associates are convening in. So this could be conversations between associates and customers or conversations between associates themselves. The next one is they're ranking stores by labor activity by the reports from the hotline and other collected information, as well as monitoring the associates' social media accounts. So from all of these things, it's creating a culture within Walmart of mistrust, because while the associates know publicly that Walmart's monitoring them, they do not know when themselves specifically are being monitored by Walmart. So with this culture of mistrust being developed within Walmart, it's leading to associates who are frustrated and not trusting their employer. These frustrated employees are leading to lower customer service, and they're not truly offering that superior customer service that Sam Walton wanted. And from there, overall, it's leading to a loss of sales for the shareholders. So all of these three problems are what are coming from this culture of mistrust developed from Walmart monitoring their employees. I want to pause for a second to really dive into what our problem is. Our problem is not how Walmart's treating their associates and our Walmart's request. Actually, in the 2016 year, Walmart pledged $1 billion in investments to increase their associates and truly show how much they care for their associates. Our problem is Walmart overly monitoring their employees as well as collecting that big data of their employees. So from here, we're going to analyze the legal, financial, and ethical implications of this problem. I'm going to first hand it off to Megan to talk about the legal ideas.
Thank you, Taylor. So to begin with the legal, the largest law that relates to this problem at hand is the National Labor Relations Act, Section 7, which states that concerted activity is protected under the law and that employees have the right to self-organize themselves into unions or employee organizations, and that no retaliation or negative action can be taken against these employees for their involvement in concerted activity. This is a law that most directly relates to this. It's also important to highlight that this law does not just protect unions, it also protects employee organizations, so our Walmart is protected under this law. Moving forward, there are 5 key questions that we think are at the legal root of this issue. I'm going to go through each of these questions right now. So the first question, can an employer monitor their employees' social media accounts? Well, yes, legally they can do this. However, they can't be deceptive in their actions. This means that they can't friend an employee with a fake name or a fake account or something like that. They have to be clear with who they are when they're monitoring social media. The next part of that is that the National Labor Relations Act, Section 7, was expanded to include social media. So that means that any activity done, posted about on social media that's concerted activity would be protected under that law, and no retaliation can be taken against them for that activity. The second question is, can Walmart hire outside companies to compile information on their employees? So this is referencing the hiring Lockheed Martin to give them reports on their employees. Well, legally, yes, they can do this. However, the Federal Trade Commission heavily regulates how they get this information and the extent to which they use it. So the first component of that is that the employer needs to have written permission before performing researching them using an outside company. Likely in Walmart's hiring process, this is, they do have a permission slip from their employees allowing them to do this. However, it's something Walmart really needs to be careful of because there are a lot of legal implications with it. The second component, which is probably the most important component of this question for our problem, is that the Fair Credit Reporting Act states that after they receive these reports from an outside company on a particular employee, that the employer, Walmart, would need to show their employee a copy of that report so that the employee has the opportunity to defend themselves if they believe that false accusations or false information was brought about in the report before any negative action is taken. So to summarize it up, essentially Walmart would need to show the report from Lockheed Martin to the employee that it's about before action is taken. The third question, can Walmart fire an employee for participating in a protest or strike? Well, not exactly. The employer can't fire an employee for simply being engaged in a strike, however, unless they are violating another company policy, such as an absentee policy or using screaming profane language at a customer, something along those lines. The next part of this is that if the employer does fire an employee for violating another company policy while participating in a strike, they must be consistent and fire other employees who violate that same policy when not participating in a strike. Otherwise, it would be signs of retaliation against concerted activity, and this would go against the National Labor Relations Act, Section 7. The fourth question I'm going to go through is, can Walmart legally discourage employees from forming or joining a union? Well, to make sure that they don't violate that National Labor Relations Act, they need to follow the TIPS acronym. So the TIPS acronym essentially states that they cannot threaten their employees, they cannot interrogate their employees, they can't make promises for bonuses or promotions for not being involved in union activities, and lastly, and probably most related to this issue, they cannot spy on union-related activities. So this is where they're walking a very fine line by using Lockheed Martin and also the labor hotline in particular. The fifth and final question I'm going to go through is, can Walmart identify employees as potential troublemakers? So can you have comments in their files from either the reports they're getting from outside companies or from the labor hotline reports from managers? Can you have comments in there that they're troublemakers for being involved in union activities? Well, this can be very problematic for Walmart. So if disciplinary action is taken against that employee, the fact that they were listed as a troublemaker in their file based on union activity would be signs of retaliation, and Walmart would face fines legally. The next part of that, so Walmart just needs to ensure that the comments in these files do not focus on union activities, but actual violations of company policies and laws. And again, they need to be consistent among all their employees. So to take a step back and look at a current legal issue happening with our company right now, Walmart, in January 2016, the National Labor Relations Board ruled in favor of employees who were fired back in 2013 for being involved in a strike. And recently, just last month, Walmart announced that they would be appealing this ruling, and likely a court will sit on this in the coming years. To get more into the financial implications of this problem, I'm going to hand it off to Connor.
Thank you, Megan. Now I'm going to give you a more in-depth look at Walmart's finances with regards to this case. To give you more background on the NLRB case, normally these cases take 2 to 3 years, but Walmart is currently in the appeal process, making this case go even longer. Now, Walmart has a good chance that they're going to lose this case. And with regards to this case, if 1% of the 2.2 million associates that work at Walmart are a part of a case such as this, we would see $560 million in fines from the National Labor Relations Board. Plus, these employees will get their jobs back. And that $560 million is back pay from the 2 to 3 years of the case. Now, with regards to the cost of the Lockheed Martin contract, companies with data analytics specialists such as Lockheed Martin normally cost $450 per hour. Now, to put that in perspective, that's the average salary of 45 Walmart associates. How do you think these Walmart associates feel seeing that Lockheed Martin is getting paid so much just to spy on these associates? Now I'm going to show you the cost of the employee turnover. The average cost of replacing an employee that makes the average $10 an hour of Walmart associates is $4,275. The average turnover in retail is 66%. In Walmart's average turnover is larger than the 66%. With 2.2 million Walmart associates, Walmart sees a cost of $6.2 billion per year of turnover of their employees. Now, if Walmart can make their employees happier and not have so much employee turnover within the company, you can see this number drop in savings within Walmart. Now I'm going to show you some of what's going on with Walmart currently. Walmart has one of the lowest customer satisfaction ratings of all supermarkets in the last decade. They also have one of the lowest employee retention ratings, which, as you can see, is costing Walmart billions per year. They also have some of the lowest return on invested capital, which is a good economic indicator of how the current stores are doing moving forward. But most importantly is the quarterly operating income. As you can see with this chart, Walmart was doing very well until the last year. Walmart in 2015 has seen a big drop in their quarterly operating income growth, so much in fact that for the first time ever, Walmart has seen negative growth for 4 consecutive quarters. Now, we believe that this can be contributed to the spying on associates, and this is unprecedented. We believe that Walmart should have a response to something like this, and we believe that our response and solution is the response that Walmart should do. Now I'm going to hand it off to Taylor to discuss the ethical components.
Thanks, Connor. So now that Megan has covered the legal implications of this and Connor's covered what it really looks like for Walmart as a business, let's bring it back and look at the associates as humans. Let's look at this ethically and what is wrong with Walmart unknowingly monitoring these employees. So now, when they're monitoring these employees, they're violating their right to privacy. What we're looking as the right to privacy as is the right to control access to their personal affairs. So when Walmart is unknowingly monitoring, and how I'm saying unknowingly monitoring is that the employees themselves do not know the specific times that they're being watched and being monitored by Walmart. So when this is happening, they're invading their employees' privacy. From that, they're disrespecting the employees. They're completely taking away the employees' right to be recognized as a human, and they're seeing these employees as just numbers and rankings, as just chances for unions. They're no longer seeing these employees as humans in themselves, they're seeing them as means to an end. And we really need to have Walmart respecting these employees and showing them that they recognize the intrinsic value of their associates as people. So from there, the next step is Walmart's taking away their free will. In taking away their free will, they're taking away the choice to share certain information with others in public. When Walmart managers are listening to conversations that their associates are having and then sharing it with corporate, Walmart's taking away the ability of these associates to choose whether they should be sharing this information with their employers. When they take this away, they're really taking away the employee's ability to flourish. They're taking away the ability of the employees to make decisions for themselves and really develop their own personal identity and their own personal mindset. And in turn, it's taking away that employee's ability to flourish and grow as a person and as a human and individual. From the next step that they're affecting when they're watching these employees is complete trust. Because like I said, the public does know this is happening. The public knows that Walmart is monitoring their employees, so the associates know that they're being monitored by their employer. But yet they don't know when. They don't know if they're talking to a customer and their managers are listening to everything they said. They don't know if in the break room when they're having a conversation with a coworker, managers aren't listening to every conversation they're having and then reporting it to corporate. With this, it becomes employees are looking over their shoulders constantly. They're constantly being watched and constantly being spied on. When you do that, you take away and break the trust between employer and employee. Walmart and associate no longer has that trusting relationship, and in turn, relationships cannot be formed. And without that relationship, the employee has no ownership to the company they're working for. They have no accountability and really don't care. And when all of that happens, we're seeing what in one employee. So when 2.2 million employees don't care, how does this affect Walmart as a company overall? Well, when you have employees who aren't engaged, who aren't trusting, Gallup polls have shown you're seeing lower productivity, you're seeing lower customer service, and overall, you're seeing a less profitable company. So now all of these things are attributing to, as we saw with Connor, those negative increases. And in turn, we're seeing Walmart employees aren't just not engaged, they're not happy. When employees aren't happy, that's a 10% lower productivity. So overall, when everyone is with this affecting the associates as individuals, it's also affecting the company as a whole. But now that we've seen how they've reacted to this issue of our Walmart, let's take a step back and really look at what are Walmart's values? Where is Walmart coming from as a company, and what are they telling their associates? Well, that brings us back to Sam Walton. The entire point of Walmart to start with was Sam Walton's vision. This was to save people money, but the most important part of it was the second part. Save people money so they can live better lives. Sam Walton's point was to completely change people's lives by saving them money and giving them quality goods at a quality price. Well, he did that. There's no question that Sam Walton revolutionized the middle class. Walmart has revolutionized the items and products that the middle class is able to afford and has saved Americans billions. With that, he had these three basic ideas that are still throughout Walmart today and known to the associates today. His three core values were respect the individual, service our customer, and strive for excellence. Walmart's reaction to our Walmart and their monitoring of their employees failed in that first one, respect the individual. They're not respecting their employees' rights to privacy. And when they're failing to respect the individual and affecting that trusting relationship, this affects the service to our customers and provides lower service to their customers, and overall it results in a failure to achieve excellence. So what this true problem here today is, there's a complete disconnect in these values that Walmart states to have and their reaction to our Walmart. So I'm going to hand it off to Megan now to talk about our solution, and reconnect Walmart's values and Walmart's actions.
Thank you. So we've outlined the problem for you. We've told you why Walmart monitoring their employees so extensively is a legal risk, a financial risk, and ultimately unethical. Now we're going to outline a solution for you that will allow you to not only mitigate, but also eliminate some of these risks completely. Our solution is for Walmart to stop, look, and listen. What I mean by this is stop. Walmart needs to stop using Lockheed Martin and the FBI. Ultimately, it's doing more harm than good. The second part, Walmart needs to look. Walmart needs to look at the comments they're keeping on their employees in their employee files and make sure that they don't focus on union activities. They also need to ensure that the employees have been able to see any reports given by an outside company. We recommend that for Walmart to do this, they allow associates to set up meetings with managers to review their files and increase transparency. The last part of our solution, listen. Walmart needs to listen to their employees. We recommend them doing this by creating an anonymous associate hotline. This anonymous associate hotline would facilitate a medium for employees to voice their concerns if they feel like they're being interrogated, spied on, or have negative action taken against them because of their union activities without fear of retaliation. We're again going to analyze this solution from a legal, financial, and ethical perspective. To begin with the legal, with the stop, by stopping using Lockheed Martin, this is a two-pronged, this has two main legal implications. So first off, by not using an outside company to compile these reports, you completely eliminate the risk of violating the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So that would be a good legal implication for this. The second part of this, by not using an outside company to have to compile those reports and keeping those comments based on union activities in employee files, you're avoiding the risk of violating the National Labor Relations Act, Section 7, that deals with retaliation, because there wouldn't be evidence of retaliation if an employee was fired for another reason. The second component of this, look. Well, again, this takes it a step further. This would, by allowing employees to review their files, it not only increases transparency, but also mitigates the legal risk of avoiding the Fair Credit Reporting Act of previous reports done by Lockheed Martin. It would allow the employees a chance to review these reports before action is taken. The last part, and probably the one that's most crucial or for legal and has the most legal implications, is listen. So by creating that anonymous associate hotline, Walmart is facilitating a medium for the associates to voice their concerns before taking legal action. So this would allow Walmart to be alerted early on if an employee feels that their rights are being violated before they they seek legal counsel. I'm now going to hand off to Connor to talk a little bit more about the financial implications of our solution.
Thank you, Megan. Now I'm going to tell you about the finances as they pertain to our solution. With regards to stop, we want to stop using Lockheed Martin and the FBI as our main source for data analytics looking over our associates. Now the cost of that would be the potential unknown strikes that could come from that, but Walmart still has controls in place to stop strikes from happening, and we believe that happier employees aren't going to want to have the strikes. Now the benefit of this would be employee trust, customer satisfaction that comes from happier employees, and the savings from the Lockheed contract and FBI. And it stops the negative PR that's been surrounding Walmart in the last couple of years from using companies like Lockheed Martin. Now with regards to look, we want to have our managers work with our associates and create a connection between the management and the associates throughout the stores. We believe that the cost of that would be $66 million of hiring more managers and having ways that where managers can talk to the associates and see what's going on within certain stores. Now the benefit of this would be employee trust within the company, customer satisfaction from happier employees, and transparency. Now with regards to listen, we want to have a hotline center where associates can call and say what's going on with their regards to the stores. We believe that the cost would be $5.5 million per year, but the benefit would be employee engagement, customer satisfaction, and productivity. And when I talk about productivity, I'm talking about having shelves stocked more. I'm talking about having more cashiers open. I'm talking about having a better run store and happier associates that are being more productive in their work, which in the end helps Walmart in a number of ways. Now, to bring this full circle, we believe that the entire cost of the Stop, Look, Listen initiatives would be $71 million per year. But we believe if we can just get a 5% increase in productivity from our employees, which if studies show that this is the low end of that number, you can see $6 billion per year in increased revenue. And while that's a large number, Walmart has $428 billion in annual revenue per year. So we believe that that $6 billion is definitely attainable. Now Taylor's going to discuss the ethical components of our solution.
Thanks, Connor. So now that we've looked at why this is sound legally and why this is sound financially, let's really take a look back again at our associates and why this is good for them as people. Well, first, the stop is pretty obvious. We're taking away this invasion of privacy by hiring the defense contractor Lockheed Martin, and the associates are regaining the privacy in their stores. They're regaining that respect from their employer, which in turn they're also regaining that free will to choose what information is being shared, as well as beginning to re-foster a relationship between employer and employee and regain that trust. Well, while Stop is ethically sound, Look goes a step beyond. Walmart does not have to show their employees some of these files, but to show that they really do want to be transparent with their employees and begin really fostering that relationship to create happier employees, which in turn creates better productivity. They're really going to show that transparency and regain associates' trust and begin to rebuild those broken relationships from the spying on their associates. So from there, we then have Listen. Listen really creates an open communication and an open system between Walmart and their associates. It allows the associates to really talk about their concerns, and when Walmart puts action behind this hotline, it's really showing that Walmart cares and wants their associates to be happy and healthy in this atmosphere and in their stores. From there, with the associates' opinions being heard, all of these allows for a rebuilding of the relationship between employer and employee, Walmart and associate. So now that we've looked at the legal, financial, and ethical implications of our problem and solution, let's recap it all, because it's been a lot. So first, we've created a culture of mistrust in Walmart. Walmart's spying on their employees with a defense contractor that also monitors drug trafficking and terrorism. They've hired the FBI, they've set up hotlines. The employees were not trusting Walmart. And when you develop that, it really created an atmosphere of uncomfortableness and just feeling like you're always being watched. It was violating their privacy and taking away their respect as human beings. So with that culture that's been created with our problem, that's where our solution comes in. Our solution of stop hiring Lockheed Martin, stop contacting the FBI. Look, allow the employees access to these files that you've collected on them so far, and listen. Truly listen to what's going on with your employees and why this was a problem in the first place. We're able to rebuild a culture of trust within Walmart. So with our problem being solved by our solution, Stop, Look, Listen, Walmart's able to develop a culture that is financially, legally, and ethically sound. Thank you. We will now take Q&A.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will start out with a question and then the rest of the judges will go. First off, I want to say that I'm from Minneapolis, which is the world headquarters of Target. We love hearing stories like this. We are a major Target town, so we love to hear these kind of stories. My question is, I'm going to phrase this as a board member, sort of, and also as a consumer. There's a lot of issues with Walmart, all the way going, to international, the way we manufacture using cheap labor and terrible conditions, and there's so many things going wrong. And given our history, we don't care. We make a whole lot of money, and people come to our stores for the low prices. They can say they're mad, but they still come and they still shop. So, I'd like you to answer a question. Why should we really care?
Well, the one reason why we chose this particular problem is because you've already donated, or you've already contributed $1 billion into increasing the employee benefits, so having more consistent hours, those are their problems. So clearly, the executives at Walmart see this as an issue. We chose this particular issue because while there are a lot of issues that Walmart could improve on. We think that going back to our roots, to what Sam Walton founded our company on, the first part of that was respecting the individual and respecting the employee. And we feel that if Walmart loses that base component, then they'll be set up to fail in other areas. And as you can see, even though people are still shopping at Walmart regularly and they're still making billions of dollars in sales, like Connor outlined, the past 4 consecutive quarters have been negative growth in profit, and that's never happened before in Walmart history. And the media is very, if you want to go to the media slide, the media is being very heavily monitoring or covering the extent to which Walmart is doing this. So let's see if we get there. Yeah. So these are some example comments that have been in the media about Walmart. So while it may not affect our sales right now, this extensive media coverage is showing that the public is aware of this and that it is a problem. If there's anything either of you would like to add?
I believe that.
Thank you. Judges?
I have 2 really short questions and then my real one. These are just kind of clarification. Why did Walmart call the FBI? Like, what was the reason given for why they called the FBI?
So I'm really happy you answered that, or you asked that, because the way that you're confused on that, the employees are also confused about that. That's what's kind of the issue with that. It's really unknown to the public and to Walmart. It's because to Walmart Associates, yes, to Walmart Associates.
I guess my question is, do you happen to know if we were required to call the FBI? In other words, and a lot of times there are things that executives are presented with where you have an obligation. Is it something that we were obligated to do, or is it a choice that we made to call the FBI?
It was how it was framed in all of our research was Walmart chose to contact the FBI and chose to reach out to them about these strikes.
To do more background searches on their employees and things like that, extensive searches.
That was how it was framed to us in our research.
Yeah. Oh, we can talk about that afterward. I just wondered if there was any explanation.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't hire the FBI, so I can't figure
No,
out.
yeah, no, we totally understand.
Yeah, in other words, I can't go, I got an investigation and I want all the details. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So
Yeah, we
I
agree
wondered
with
what
you that
the-
yeah. So
Walmart has a huge ethics function. Do they have an ethics helpline already? Do you know?
So yes, they do have an online form that you can type in and voice your concerns over online, but it's done at like a large scale on their website. So it wouldn't be as direct as having a hotline that's particular to each individual store. So that this is just something that Walmart corporate has in general, and having one at the local level, which has phone technology and ability, would help us Walmart fix problems at the smaller
So
scale.
your proposed solution is a telephone number at the site for the site is
Yes.
specific to that issue. That's
Exactly.
there. I see. It's not to corporate headquarters like an ethics helpline. Your
Yes.
proposal is that it's for the site. Okay, that helps clarify. Okay, so here's my real question. Since you're presenting to executives at Walmart, I think a natural response would be, hey, we're not the only ones at fault here, right? Like if you're talking about trust, those people that are threatening to shut down our stores are the people that broke the trust. So I guess I'm asking as an outside consultant, what would you also advise in the other part of this relationship? What obligations in other words, in order for me to take a step forward, as you're asking me to step forward, I might reasonably ask, how are they going to step forward? Do you have any ideas for what, how this trust relationship, because would be a relationship, how is that going to
Can I clarify your question just a little
Sure.
bit? So you're asking basically how our Walmart would respond to these steps or how the associates would respond to these steps that Walmart is taking?
Well, I think the way I see your proposal is great, because what I think you're overall trying to do is to recreate an environment in which the management and the employees trust one another.
Exactly.
Right? But I think what you're telling me is that we are doing things that have violated that trust. And I'm saying, all right, but as an executive, they're doing things that violate the trust too. What's going to happen to rebuild that trust relationship from their side?
And we completely-
Have you given any thought for
Yeah, we completely agree with that. And the nice thing is, our Walmart has spoken to the media, has spoken with the press, and has told them that they would love to sit down with Walmart and truly discuss these problems when they want a better Walmart, basically. They want a Walmart that respects their associates, which I believe the executives want as well. And so in turn with these discussions, they're really giving you guys the voice of the employees. It's really telling you what the employees want and allows you guys to build a stronger relationship and allow for the relationship to continue to grow and build. And that's the willingness of them, and if the executives and our Walmart's able to meet and truly have a conversation rather than seeing each other as the enemy. Our Walmart's truly just looking to respect your people, and your people are your foundation. As Sam Walton said, your people are what the customer sees and where you make your money and where you make your success. So I'm losing my my train of thought, sorry. So with our Walmart, being able to come and really tell you guys what they're hearing on the bottom level that the executives aren't always able to hear, that's really what they're bringing to you, is information that they've collected from being on the road, from talking to your associates, and that's what you're gaining from them.
We also really think it's crucial for Walmart as a corporation to make the first step. That'll be very good, one, just publicity, but also just ethically, a large company like this, when you're dealing with the extent of profits that Walmart makes as compared to like an employee organization, we think it's really crucial for Walmart to make that first step. And then of course we would expect that then the relationship it's a two-way relationship. That.
Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Thanks. So a couple of questions I wanted to ask about the hotline. And thanks for clarifying this at the store. Can you be a bit more specific about what authority the hotline members will have to make changes in the store? And what mechanisms you might have for bubbling up issues that might be company-wide or regional from those hotlines to be addressed at higher levels? And I ask in particular because I fear that employees may see this as a pat on the head, very good, we've heard you, but if they don't detect things, if they don't detect the ability for something to actually change as a result of this, it might not improve the trust. Right?
So we have the logistics of this, and the first step would really be understanding the associate's problem. They'd really want to speak fully and understand the problem, because if it is something that needs to be brought to corporate, they will be able to bring it to corporate. It's basically, the hotline is almost like being able to reach out to the individual resource that is needed to be spoken to. It's basically an employee's having a problem. The employee doesn't really know who to talk to, so instead of trying to figure it out themselves, it's like, no, you come to this hotline, and this hotline will either A, direct you or help you in bringing this problem forward, or anonymously allow you to talk about it and then speak to this person directly. So they'll document the problem on the form, because we do want it right now, we do want it shown, and then reach out to the appropriate management. So if it is corporate, that's the appropriate management, that's where that would be reached out to, and it would be spoken about to corporate. Or if it's something that's local, maybe the coffee machine's been broken for 2 weeks and they're in the break room, that's something that they also can just reach out to the HR of that department and just quickly shoot them that. But then they're also, the most important step is that they're following up. They really are ensuring that this has been solved and that this problem has been resolved, and that's really where they're putting the action behind their words.
So what if the employee has discovered a specific violation of company policy?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, in fact, it's about a manager who masqueraded as somebody else, a Facebook friend that they found or something else, and they call the hotline. What happens then? They're not going to connect with that manager, are they?
No, not at all.
So the reason that our costs for this listen were so high is because we're hiring different people that their exclusive job would be this hotline service. So it would be like more regional or at the local store level again. But it wouldn't be directly to their manager, and these people that were hired for this hotline service would have extensive training on how to approach different things like that, and they would also have contacts for Walmart's like legal counsel or other components like that. So they do think that a legal violation has happened, they can try to fix it in-house, I would say, rather before the employee does step out and take legal action.
Thank you. I can jump in with one, or do you have?
I have some, but why don't you go ahead?
Yeah,
Mine are
Rob.
clarifying.
Okay. Why hasn't our legal and government system jumped in on something that sounds like it's pretty serious in terms of living in a free country?
Could you clarify your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about here is a pretty big deal. I mean, we live in a free society. We're not allowed, the government is not supposed to be tracking us. This is not at all like a lot of the countries that are in the world. This sounds like, with a large organization, that this is not only a violation of ethics, but it runs against what the entire country and our founding fathers are about. Why isn't the government getting involved in this?
So the government is starting to get involved, but the problem is the law is a little bit lagging in this sense with how rapidly increasing social media and just the internet in general and technology is. It's hard for the law to necessarily keep up with every moving component of social media. So just Instagram is a fairly recent thing. Twitter is fairly recent within the past decade, and it's hard for the laws to keep on top of this. So right now there are governing organizations like the National Labor Relations Board that is put in place to govern all labor violations. However, I could foresee in the future maybe having particular departments used just for the use of technology and things like that. But I think in this sense, the law needs to catch up with the current technology.
Thank you.
How much time do we have?
12 minutes.
Okay. So I'm interested in you made kind of an argument. I just want you to kind of unpack it a little bit. You said that essentially that the company's spying behavior leads to distrust, and that distrust leads to turnover, right? So I'm thinking, I've actually got a lot of distrustful employees at my company, but they don't leave. And so, in other words, there must be some things that are keeping these Walmart employees working and not, in every case, leaving. In other words, what else? That argument. Spying leads to distrust. Distrust leads to turnover. Distrust can also lead to other things, right? So, what other things does it lead to in this circumstance, and what does your solution fix about those other things that this broken relationship has?
One of the first things we would say is employee engagement. When employees aren't engaged and really they don't have ownership at their work, Gallup polls have shown that all of these things, productivity, profitability, customer engagement, innovation, growth, all of these things are being affected by the lack of employees. So yeah, they might not leave, but they also might just show up to their shift, not happy, just kind of do their thing, scan their products, tell them, have a nice day. And there's a lot of difference between, hey, how's it going? How's your day been? Being at Target and being asked about the products I'm buying, being asked about the plant and how it actually works. There's a large difference between these two things. And when employees are more engaged and employees are friendlier to your customers, you're gonna have customers want to return. There's other factors that are such as, it's been proven in retail stores, the longer a customer is there, the more money they spend. It's a pretty logical idea, but it's been proven with that. And so when your associates are happier and friendlier, they're taking care of the store more, it's a better store, people are more willing to go there and people want to visit that Walmart store. They want to spend more time in there. They're willing to not just go for that last minute cheap item, but maybe they'll also go buy their groceries there. And all of that is what's bringing in by creating a larger culture of trust where the employees and Walmart are truly having a relationship instead of just having to work for them.
Yes, that's just to give you some numbers too. Studies show that happy employees are 12% more productive, but it also shows that unhappy employees are 10% less productive, which is where we got some of our numbers from. And we believe even if there isn't turnover, these employees, if they're being unhappy, they're less productive, and that leads to unstocked shelves, employees walking around not talking to associates, which on a personal level, I can say I see in Walmart stores. And we think that if you can make these employees more engaged and have them feel like they're a part of the company, they're not going to have this disconnect of what they're doing and what Walmart's trying to accomplish.
So I'm glad you put that chart back.
Oh, sorry, I'll go back to it. I apologize.
There were a couple of questions I had about some of the numbers, and one of them was that 10% less productive. So curious about the Warwick study and what was the context there? Was it low wage work like Walmart? And also your figure of I think it was $4,275 for typical employee acquisition costs. What's that based on?
So back to the number slide you went over, the one that's dealing with turnover number?
Yeah. So this one, the 10% less productive, I want to know more about this study.
This one came from the Fortune 100 companies where they went through their stocks and how well the Fortune 100 companies were doing with being, like, when they had a survey of whether their associates are happy, and those companies that said that they were happy with their associates were happier, they did a lot better. And then they went through and did it on a larger scale, and they found that companies that were found to have unhappy associates were 10% less productive, and they went by revenues.
Interesting, okay.
And
so
the top one for the Fortune's 100 went by stock price.
So this is a wide range of industry. This is not exclusively retail.
The retail one was the 66%, and
slide.
Your second question.
Okay, yeah, second question, right, so $4,375.
Yeah.
$4,375 for turnover costs.
That's the average cost of replacing an employee that makes about $10 an hour, which is the cost now of the lowest level employee at Walmart. And then 66% is the average turnover in retail, and Walmart's is higher than that. I'm not certain how much higher than that, but I know that it's higher than the 66%, but 66% is for all stores in retail.
But what's the cost breakdown of that?
The cost is just the cost of taking someone that makes $10 an hour and then having them be educated on the company, going through the process of learning what to do with the company, and because of the 66% and going through so much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's having an HR department.
Yeah.
Having
Recruiting.
the people actually recruiting and all of that, their time.
There's charts that'll show how much they make and how much it costs for the company for how much an employee would make.
Right, okay. But you're factoring in a fair amount of it, right? But most
Yeah.
importantly, from when they start to where they become productive, what
Mhm.
you're paying them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Can you back up to the slide that shows negative sales growth?
Is that the next slide? Or is it
We'll
right
have
here?
to-
Yes.
There it is. There it is. Okay, we have quarterly
Quarterly
operating
operating
income growth.
And that drop in.
Right. Can you tell me, can you compare that, give me a baseline such as with a Target, with a Kohl's? I'm trying to figure out the industry and how does the industry compare to that?
I can't give you an exact number on the industry, but the industry as a whole has been positive in the last few years. The lowest number for most supermarkets and grocery stores was in about 2011, 2012 year. And then since then, as the economy has somewhat rebounded, you can see that they've done better and they've been going up. And then in 2015, they've gone down, and a lot of associates and their stock price actually went down, and they bought back some of their stock in 2015. And a lot of people that own that stock was wondering, why would the quarterly operating income go down when, for the most part, the market of supermarkets are doing a lot better than what they were doing during the recession. So there has to be another answer than just the economy's doing poorly. And that's why we think it's connected to the Lockheed Martin and the negative PR, and it's finally starting to catch up to Walmart.
Okay. I do need to point out that now you're saying you think maybe you did draw that conclusion very close when you first presented it. So just, yeah. Now you're saying you think, that's fine.
Could I also just add to that, if you don't mind? And it's not just that it's causing it, it's more
Yeah.
that it's contributing to this entire culture of people don't want to choose to shop at Walmart. People shop at Walmart because they have the lowest price. And that's that, that's the difference between good profits and bad profits. Sure, Walmart's making profits, but are people choosing to shop there, or is it because they need to shop there because it's the lowest price? So this entire culture of mistrust that's being created by this monitoring and the associates not being happy working for them, while we're not saying it's contributing all to it, it really is adding to that idea that Walmart's the big brother that you kind of have to go to.
And by us saying that we think, that means that this is what we're arguing that the way that they're treating their employees is contributing to this. So that is what we are arguing.
Yeah.
Contributing.
Yes.
Good word.
Contributing, yeah,
Good word.
exactly.
So I'm curious if you look at what Walmart's cost structure might look like if they stop, look, and listen, and then our Walmart does form a union and forces wages to go up by $2 an hour.
Walmart's already increased their wages $2 an hour since our Walmart has.
That's part of the $1 billion that Walmart has put forward for that. There are a lot of implications legally with whether just the minimum wage would be going up or things like that Walmart needs to take in consideration. And we factored in the Connor's final slide about the overall increase in, last slide. We factored that into our overall estimation of how much this could bring the company.
Yeah, the lowest wage currently now at Walmart is $10 per hour.
Right.
So-
But what I'm asking is, so let's adopt these proposals, and we're no longer spying, we're no longer seeing if there's strike activity and so forth, and then this organization happens, and they decide that they want more money, right? Even more than the $2 we've offered. What's that going to do to our profit, and is that going to potentially outweigh the savings we would have gotten by doing this policy?
Well, I want to clarify that we aren't saying that Walmart completely stops monitoring their employees at any extent. Any large company does monitor their employees. We're saying that Walmart in recent years has just taken it a step too far. So that's why our solution outlined that. So we're not saying that they completely give up monitoring their employees. So it's not 100% that they would not have any option of foreseeing strikes or having any negotiation factors or in dealing with the union activities. Do you want to add?
Yeah, no, it's really just stop hiring a defense contractor that looks at drug trafficking, terrorist activity, because really
Well, did you want it done right? I mean, speaking on behalf of the defense company, it's like, well, if you wanted it done right, you came to the right.
Yeah, exactly. Because as you, I would jump back to the headlines, but I think we saw them before. They were calling Walmart paranoid. You know, it's really that like looking over their shoulder and really being terrified of their employees. But like she said, other companies monitor their employees. Their employees are an asset to Walmart, and it really is important for them to understand what's going on with them. And that's like, yes, the anonymous hotline, but there's also other ways that isn't defense contractors.
Yeah.
So that's really what we're telling them to stop doing. It's stop that too much and overly.
And I guess just to directly answer the question you asked about the financial implications of that, if the union was to increase, have more power, I guess, because we're asking Walmart to handle this a little differently than they've been. Of course, that would be, there is some risk of that, that the union would have, I guess, more power without being so heavily watched. However, we think that ultimately the heavily watching of the unions is doing more damage than good. So if we're seeing those changes or having that slight upper hand is doing more damage, again, publicity, things like that, and just again, productivity, customer or employee engagement, customer experience, all of that is ultimately negative. So we think that looking forward long term, by bettering this relationship, they would have more profits overall long term.
And I mean, we could go back to the slide that it's at least $450 an hour, and there's been other reports that have come out from our Walmart person who basically said, yeah, we just kind of say like whatever we feel like saying that's not actually true, because Walmart's monitoring everything we say. We give fake directions, we give fake location, we give fake dates, and Walmart's monitoring all of this, and this is what Walmart's seeing and what they're getting. And so Walmart's wasting millions already just following these fake updates, these fake ideas that are already being put out there. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, what do stockholders think about that when Walmart's reading a timeline of fake information?
That's the end of Q&A. Let's now, first let's give them a nice
Thank you.
Now we are taking off our masks, and so are you. We are now just here to give you some general feedback. I've been judging for about 6 years now, and every now and then I have to stop and look at my notes and say, wait a minute, am I in the graduate or the undergraduate level? And this is one of those times. You're undergraduates, and I thought, wait a minute.
Do you mind if I grab water?
Oh, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are yourself now. You do anything you want. The judging's over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted you to know that
Thank you. We really
a lot of this
appreciate
is graduate level thinking.
Thank you.
And as is your level of background knowledge and your ability to answer some of these questions. So I teach in the graduate school MBA program. I'm going to give you a brochure. I'd like you to know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
One thing I want to point out, and this is what I see this quite a bit, that's the whole idea of audience analysis and responding to your audience. Mm-hmm. We are board members or executives of Walmart, and yet you kept talking about us as though in the third person. You kept saying they. You. When it's actually you, or Walmart. So always be careful that you're speaking to your audience and not about something out here. Mm-hmm. So I see this that's an academic mistake that's made a lot. So just always remember who's in your audience. I think you did a really nice job of covering some of the different bases. Another nice thing to do is to sit down and think about who is going to be in this audience. What are their individual capacities? What are their jobs? And so you have to throw something nice out to the operations person, something to the HR person, something to this person, something to that person, so you can make sure everybody is happy and feels included. I think you did a pretty good job with that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I want to second. I did exactly the same thing. I went scrambling like, wait, this isn't the graduate group. I did this morning. I judged 3 of the graduate programs or 3 of the graduate presentations, and I'm not kidding. Like, I left for lunch just angry and feeling like, oh my God, graduate education is awful. These people can't think straight. And I just thought, well, this is going to be worse. And you guys are twice or 3 times better.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
It makes me feel better for grading them down this morning, because I left going, well, maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon-y man now. And now I'm like, no, this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, do this. Okay, so I thought you were very well organized. I thought your presentation was clearly practiced, you clearly had thought through everything, your background information, the way you slipped in these extra slides at the end that weren't, I thought it was brilliant.
Smart, very smart.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It showed that you had really considered, that you had thought through what kinds of questions are we going to be asked and what do we not have time for here, but where are we going to be asked questions. I think that's really critical. I agree with your comments about knowing your audience, and so with all that, my only real, it's not a criticism, it's just an observation, is that there are people here that have a vested interest in the way things are already. Right, so the people on this side of the table, as executives, we made all the decisions that have come up to this. Right? So we had reasons for doing that. Now they may not be good reasons, but we had reasons, and we're invested in it. So one of the things that I think would have benefited your presentation is to show maybe some understanding of why we are where we are, and that would also include some acknowledgement that our Walmart group hasn't been pristine in everything they've done.
Yes,
in other words, I think you almost took a position like, you gotta give these guys what they want. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, but we hired you. You're like, why, So at some point, I think your argument is always stronger if you can show some awareness of the other side, not only just how these decisions were made, but some awareness that what our Walmart is doing and some of the things that they've been doing have probably been difficult on us and the way that we've made choices, and some acknowledgement of that makes us go, right, you understand, now we're going to listen to your response.
Right.
I think that's very minor compared to everything else that I heard today. It was by far the best thing I've heard all day. So, but that would be my feedback to you, is show the other side and an awareness that you understand the other side, and I think that'll help.
I definitely agree with you. Thank you.
It's really like that.
This is my first one, so I can't compare it to the next, but I suspect that it's going to be better than what I see in the future.
Thank you so much.
I agree with these comments. You look like graduate students to me. And I was really...
You'll reach an age where that's not a compliment anymore. You look older than you are.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean demeanor, presentation, style,
Thank you.
right? Not wrinkle count. I was particularly impressed and pleased with your highlighting of the ethics in the sense of Walmart having gotten away from what it is, from its core values, right? That I hear this is sort of an aristological, like a virtue-based argument. I heard, so I heard that in there.
Good.
And I also heard when you were talking about the expectations the employees might have of their employee, I heard Kant in the background, but you didn't say it.
We read that line there, not
It
to
really, if you
reference.
it went Kant, utilitarianism,
Yeah. If you listed Kant, it would not have been a good thing.
No.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think you did exactly, it was perfect.
Thank
It
you.
was nice, common sense language that people will understand and will resonate with the kind of ethics that people live every day. But if you have an ethicist in the audience, they'll go, oh yeah, categorical imperative, yeah. This all rolls up. So I was very impressed with that.
Thank you.
I think the finance stuff was well put together. So I mean, I know I asked you a lot of questions about that. I would have liked to see like a cost breakdown on the $4,275. This is how much is it. But I think that might be asking you for a little much. Overall, I think your arguments were pretty sound. The ethical arguments, I think, really impressed me. So
Thank you.
nicely done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments for us at all? Or?
I would just say thank you for your feedback. Definitely, I know
Yeah.
Connor's a senior, so he'll be graduating, but Taylor and I are both juniors, so we will hope to come back to this next year. We'll definitely take all of your suggestions.
I really appreciate that, because
Yeah.
oftentimes it's not useful
Yeah.
feedback, but like 100% what you guys are saying, we totally
That's
agree
the
with.
idea. This is a learning event as well as a
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank you.
So thank you for taking the feedback so well.
I think, one of the things that I think you didn't fall into, which is what I heard everybody this morning fall into, is this morning what I heard were a lot of people making assertions which is not the same as making an argument. And what you guys were doing were making arguments and tying it to the business purpose, the overall intent of the business, which is what you're referring to, and historically the intent, but also the current intent, which is you're here to make money, and here's how you make money, and here's how we tie the values to the money. That's an argument. So every time where it would have broken down, it went, oh, but they've actually already addressed how these are connected to these things. And so even though you didn't fall into this trap, I think what I'm hearing this morning, the one learning point that I can give you is continue to make good critical arguments in advance of something, as opposed to just saying, we all understand that this is wrong, which is what I heard a lot of this morning.
we don't.
We all agree that this isn't okay. And I'm like, No. No, it's not. I understand that that's what our culture is telling us now, but that's not an argument. And you guys didn't do that, and that's what I wanted to applaud you for, is you guys
Thank you.
actually made arguments, which I really
We
appreciate.
appreciate it.
Thank you
We
very
appreciate it a
much.
lot.
Excellent job, Taylor.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Nice to see you again.